That's right. It is the morning show right here on Facebook Live, Periscope TV, YouTube Live, LinkedIn, and of course, Instagram TV. Glad to have you with us on today's show. We got lots to speak about, including latest news, headlines, some good, some great, and some, yeah, it is what it is. Did you watch the debates? We want to know at social media. Let us know. Who do you think came out as a winner? I saw that post recently, and I'll be honest, I didn't watch any minute of it. I just felt as though it was going to be a lot of nonsense. And from what I understand, I think it was. We got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there. Jesse, was it nonsense or was it all really informational good news?
Good morning. I think I started watching 10 minutes of it and I just flicked it off. I figured I'll just watch the clips of it, and I was actually right because it was just it was a comedy show. It was just going back and forth, yelling, talking over each other. They need a new way of handling that, most definitely.
Well, from what I understand, like sometimes they overspeak. I just think they should do what they do at the Oscars, right? Play the music, cue the music, like right. Then they know, don't talk anymore. Look, it is what it is. It's a spectacle of amusement. I think. I don't know. Do people make decisions based on debates though?
I want to say they do, but honestly, just do your research into each candidate and just do your best. That's all I can say. Just
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. But it is a thing. All right. Well, we have to take a quick break here on the morning show.
vote.
When we get back, we're having some technical issues. Hopefully, we won't have too many technical issues. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, we're on our commercial break there for ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. If you're listening via our app, we love you already. Download it, it's free. Just make sure you're connected via Wi Fi. And you can be always in the know with the latest news, on top of the news, on top of every hour. All right, so check that out. I know they're probably playing a lot of sound clips, some sound bites. Look, if anything, they got sound bites 4 days. And I think that's how we're going to have to all pay attention to it. But no truth to the rumor, there's an interview I did actually during the debates, and it actually went longer than I think the host wanted, or maybe he told me it was only going to last an hour and he wanted to watch the debates, but we went a full hour and 48 minutes, which oddly enough, at the end of it, Jesse, whenever you have like a good interview, when the host actually doesn't cut you off earlier than the time that they said, you know what I mean?
Yes, most definitely. I actually saw, because I was like, I saw your feed or your interview go up on my feed, and I was just like, okay, I wonder how long he did it. And then once it hit the 20-minute mark, I was like, oh wow, okay, he went longer than 20 minutes. 30, 40, hour, hour and a half. I'm like, oh my god.
I know. I'll be honest. I was kind of waiting for him to say, "Cut, we're done," and so you know what? Look, I could go on an 8-hour show if I needed to. I could do a marathon, but we shared a lot of information, talked a lot about the stuff that we actually talked about, and oddly enough, Jesse, he knew
10
everything I
seconds.
was talking about. He does his research.
Oh, nice.
I was like super impressed. I was like, "Wow."
2 seconds.
All right, thanks. That's right.
That's right.
It's the morning show right here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. Joining our already live audience there on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Instagram, LinkedIn as well. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you're listening via one of our podcast issues, which podcasting sometimes has issues, but I love it anyway. But you can check it out. SoundCloud is there, KMET 1490 AM. You've also got some other cool stuff, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. I think we're on Spotify too, so add us to your favorites. Speaking of podcasts, by the way, big shout out to Suck It Podcast over there on I probably shouldn't say our competitor. I'm going to leave that one out. But he's on multiple channels, like on Facebook, YouTube. You go check it out. Periscope TV. He does kind of what we do. He's everywhere. And then some. Great guy, a comedian. Go follow him. I think it's Derek Comedy over there. You can follow him on Instagram. Go follow him. Let him know I sent you. And if you haven't listened to the interview, it was a really good interview. Really went quite a long time. I expected to be on there about like 45, maybe an hour long, but it ended up quite a long show, and hopefully he'll make some clips of the segment because I don't think anybody wants to pay attention to everything I said. But a lot of the stuff I said, I really appreciate people that don't throw caution to the wind, do research for themselves, and no truth to the rumor. He has no way of watching the morning show regularly, which because he's quite busy himself doing interviews constantly. So he's got a lot of great musicians and people on his show, which I say if you're looking for something fun, you could go do that. Go check it out, Suck It Podcast, over there on Facebook. You can like it. And we had a fun discussion, so much so that at the very end of it, he admitted he actually missed the debates on purpose due to our great conversation. So, you know what? That's always a good thing, which I understand a lot of people are kind of a little wondering what happened as of last night. We got Mr. Jesse Sanchez over there who's breaking it down for us. Jesse, do you have an answer to the rumor? What was that all about?
Are you talking about the debate?
Was it a debate though, or was it one? Because I saw somebody who practices debates. He goes, there was so much wrong with that debate. There was nothing right.
Honestly, it didn't feel like a debate to me at all. It was just they didn't have any control, and they really need a system to where you can just mute a mic so no one talks over you during your time. But yeah, it was.
I would like to put you on that control level, right? Like, okay, you're done, right? Wouldn't that be cool? I think, and then oh, how come my mic's not working? It's intentional. Shut up.
Pretty much. I'll do it.
Which I read something where Biden, I think somebody said they're Biden supporters. Unfortunately, I think only one person came to his aid when asked who won that debate. But look, I don't know if people understand what debates are meant to be. Debates back in the day were meant to say, look, let's throw the issues on the table. Let's let the American people decide for themselves what's right, what's wrong, and how is the person going to do it. I don't know that everybody got that type of information at the very end because I feel like the majority of people are just like, really? And I feel like people are time for a change. I mean, they're ready for a change. I don't know about you, Jesse.
Yeah, I think we're all ready for a change.
Yeah, me too. But look, if you're looking for a really good broadcast, the broadcast as of last night, I said a lot of stuff about Trump that I wish if I were in front of him, I would have said that stuff in front of his face. I always say if you're going to say something behind somebody's back, say it publicly. That way they can read it and or see it. And you'd be like, look, I said it in front of you because you saw it. So there you go. I'm not saying behind your back, right? But it's a thing. So there you go. Look, lots of news, lots of information. Jesse, I understand you have some entertaining news over there. Is that right?
I have a few things. One, I don't know how they're going to do, but it'll be interesting. For those who have heard of the movie Borat, he actually was filming a sequel to that over the summer, and Amazon snatched up the rights to it, and they're actually going to premiere it on their streaming service the day before not the debate.
They should.
The election.
Oh, got it. Okay, they should do it just before the debate. Hey, look, if any other how many debates do they get?
I think 3.
Yeah, 3. They just need to spice it up a little, okay? Get somebody, I don't know, somebody to throw up their hands and say, hey, I'll volunteer to be the middle guy. Have an independent run, and then have the independent kind of field questions as well. I think we need an independent running. I'm just saying. I throw in my hat, but I don't have the money. Okay, so big shout out to those tuning in on social media. We got Penelope Green, Stephanie Reed, Bobby Stamps. Hey, thank you, Bobby. Big shout out to Bobby right now. He just sent us 50 stars, by the way. And stars, for those of you wondering, on Facebook, it's a thing. If you have a time and you do a lot of content creation, people can donate money, and they do so via stars. So he just sent 50 stars to us. Thank you so much, Bobby. Appreciate your willingness to throw us some stars, throw us some real love, and thank you so very much. We appreciate you. Big shout out to Bobby Stamps over there, and thank you, Bobby. We appreciate you. He also said getvocal.com, getvokl.com. I'm not sure if that's his or somebody else's, but there you go. I'll say whatever you need to say. keep the stars coming. All right. Let's see. We've got, he says, Scotland also in the house. Fraser Ramsey. All right. Double Mint Radio's tuning in. Good day, gents. Hello. Good to see you. Asking how are we doing. Jesse, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited because October's here. Well, coming, so that means movies filled with horror.
That's right, Horrorville, right? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Jesse loves the horror films. I like about maybe one of them. Can you state like your top 5? Like if we had a list, Jesse, what would be number 5 all the way to number 1? You ready?
Ooh, that's a tough choice because each horror movie is so different. But let's see. I know one of my independent ones is a movie called Feast. It was actually an independent movie that started with Project Greenlight. It was a show on HBO.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah, that was with the two founders. Help me out. Ben Affleck and
Matt Damon.
And they would greenlight certain productions that they felt were possible to be greenlit, and they'd fund some with their own money, right?
Mm-hmm. And this movie was the only horror movie that they did, which was Feast, and I enjoyed it. It was very different. It's a bit different. So, and there's one movie on Netflix. It's a horror movie or thriller, depending on how you see it. It's about, I think it's called Hush, and it's about a woman who can't hear.
Oh.
And she's being stalked by like some kind of like serial killer type thing.
All right, cool. I get it. All right. What's number 3 on your list?
Let's see. Oh, this movie called You're Next, and it's about a rich family. They go, get together in the woods area where they live, and this guy brings home his girlfriend to introduce everybody, and all of a sudden mayhem happens, and everyone's being hunted with inside the house, and it's more or less a survival story about how would you react.
It reminds me of Purge. Have you seen that?
Ooh, Purge. Okay, yeah, Purges was good. It was the first one was good. It was an interesting concept.
That's the only one I saw, to be honest. I didn't see the other Purges. But it kind of I'm sure there's a similar twist, right?
Yeah, if the Purge was real, I would be scared.
Yeah, me too.
That's one horror movie I would not want to ever happen.
That's the one you're like, no, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Rosalie, who just sent us 99 stars. Wow, Rosalie Huerta Madrigal. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the stars. Thank you for the love, too. Appreciate that. Seriously. Wow, you guys are just fantastic. I love you already. But I've always loved you guys, so, that's what we try. Okay, I think we're number 2, by the way, right?
One of my favorite werewolf movies is a foreign film. I don't know if you want to call it foreign, but it's like English or Irish. It's called Dog Soldiers, and it's about a military unit running into werewolves, and I like it because of the practical effects within the film. So no CGI.
Oh, like real,
Yeah.
The way it's meant to be. Big shout out to Katya Wunderland, who just sent 50 stars as well. Thank you so very much, Katya. Seriously, you guys are just amazing. I didn't expect this, but thank you. What about, okay, this one, I've never actually watched, but I wanted to watch all the way through. I just always heard bad things about it. But you know what? No truth to the rumor. I think, we need more of it. Exorcist. Is that among your top?
Okay. I actually saw that movie and people were horrified. It didn't horrify me, but the concept of the whole being possessed and stuff like that, the fact that it could be possible,
right,
is really freaky.
Well, you know what? Shout out to Diana, who says Exorcist. So I don't know if that's her top one, but you know what? Look, I think we need more of those guys out here, or ladies, or however that works, because we got some evil in the world that needs to be dealt with, right? Okay, you're number 1 on your list, Jesse. Go for it.
I'm a fan of Freddy Krueger, so Nightmare on Elm Street, all of them. That's what it is. I have the giant collection, and he will always be my favorite.
Well, then there you go. So there's the list, Jesse's top 5 list. If you're looking for films to watch in October, look, if you guys have additional suggestions, we're more than willing to hear them. The great thing I love about our social media audience is they're so in tune. They're so like ready to share stuff, whether we like it or whether we don't. They do so, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, we're going to regroup. We got some interesting news. I thought I'd switch it up just a little. Less news, more fun, right? All right, people. I think we all need that after the debates, right? You feel a little like you need to take a shower after that, right? Don't know? Some? No? I don't. What? All right, we'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, for those of you tuning in, this is our commercial break where we are waiting for the radio audience to catch up with us. We got to pay some bills over there on the radio side. But you know what? Thank you so very much, Rosalie. I appreciate you 100%. Alcatia, also from Switzerland, thank you again for your stars donation. Thank you, Bobby, for donating as well. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you. And these are all regular viewers. So thank you. Seriously, thank you. And your participation is more than enough payment. It really is. But thank you for spreading the cheer, spreading the love there. Let's see. Rosalie says, happy day. All right, I love it. Yeah, there we go. That's what I like to hear. Let's see. Good morning, friends. Diana says, Stephanie Reed says this. I know I applied to be the moderator for the debate, but didn't get it. And if I was there as a moderator, I would have told Trump, it's not your time to speak. You know what that reminds me of, Jesse? Did you ever see No Soup for You? We need that guy. We do. I need your mic on, by the way. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I realized.
And I know him, by the way. I interviewed him about 12 years ago, and that guy, like, that's all he's known for, right? Like, he's the guy, the soup Nazi. Which I'm like, I think we need him in the room. Just, right? Come on. Seriously, Trump knows entertainment. He was on Apprentice. Come on, you're fired.
Okay,
he would have fired himself from that debate. I think that's how bad it was. If
you talk outside of your turn, you get slimed, like on Nickelodeon.
I love that. You could. What was it? Whenever you said "I don't know," you get slimed. Wasn't that what it was?
I think so.
Yeah, or somebody said, and then the slime came. Does anybody remember that? Do you guys remember that? Go ahead, Jesse.
No, I was like, every time that they talk out of turn, they should get slimed.
Yeah, I think it's completely a great idea. Doublemint Radio. Yeah, totally would love to be on your podcast. Let's do it. Done. Just I'll set you up with my publicist, okay? She's been setting up all my interviews as of late. So yeah, I'll totally be on your radio show, and Jesse too. We'll make it happen. Jesse's schedule's a little different than mine. We might need to be separate. I don't know. Huh, Jesse? Tell me what time you have open. Well, Doublemint Radio is all the way in Scotland, I believe. So their time difference is different there than it is here. So you might have to be awake at midnight. Just saying. Is that the difference? I don't know.
10 seconds. That's a good question. Or we could all fly to Scotland. It's all good.
Quarantine for seconds. What is it? A week? A month and a half? What is it?
2 seconds. It'll be worth it.
Welcome back. It is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. Joining our live audience there on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. I get confused. Also on Spotify and several other places you can find us. Very simple. Big shout out to Doublemint Radio, who's online all the way over there and from Scotland. Has an 8-hour difference, but tunes in to the morning show. We appreciate them more than everybody else. No, I'm just kidding. We appreciate everybody equally. That's the great thing about this show. We appreciate everybody, including the haters. We got several haters hating up on the show. Some of them still watch the show. I right, Jesse? There's one. His name will not be mentioned, but he's even let his anger be known on one of my broadcasts. When we were doing a test broadcast, he had an angry emoji, and I'm like, and that was the guy that did a lot of bad behind the scenes. But anyway, he still watches the show. So shout out to him if he's watching too. I say, you know what? More viewers, the better. We'll take them all, okay? Okay, so let's switch gears into some news over here. Again, look, whether you hate it, loved it, didn't care, watched it, didn't care, I don't really know, but I know this. A lot of news on the home front with regarding coronavirus. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about that. There was one article that I posted on my Facebook feed, and it was this, and I was a little surprised to see this. And I'll be honest, some of the news I'm just not always 100% on because there's so much news coming in. I did an interview yesterday on Suck It podcast, and he mentioned like three things I wasn't completely familiar with, but I was somewhat familiar with. And one of them was this about Florida, and he was ahead of the curve than I was. So I'm going to share that right now. Florida residents will no longer, which I agree with on this, be fined for not wearing face masks and COVID-19 restrictions on all businesses in the state, including restaurants and bars. They have been lifted in an effort to help the state's economy, according to Governor Ron DeSantis. DeSantis said at a news conference, every business has the right to operate. Some of the locals can do reasonable regulations, but you can't just say no. Local governments can put their own restrictions in place as long as they don't limit restaurant seating to less than 50% occupancy. Local officials will be required to justify restrictions that limit a restaurant's occupancy to less than 100% capacity. Now, here's where I sit on this. Although I don't think you should necessarily, like, for example, I talked about this on yesterday's show, right? Don't take a woman, for example, Jesse, remember we talked about that, out of like a bleacher aisle where she was with her own family, safely distancing from other people on the outside, and the guard took her away and hauled her away to prison, right? I think, did she get out? She got out, right? It was like proven to be dumb. But look, at the end of the day, I think, what are you going to do? Ticket every single person who doesn't wear a face mask and or wears it half off? The majority of police officers I've seen that wear a face mask have it like halfway off anyway, right?
Yeah.
And or they have a makeshift one, which isn't even a proper one. They have like a cloth, and a cloth is better than nothing. What some say, I say, look, if you're going to practice the right thing, take a moment. Look, I just bought another box over at Fry's, okay? Fry's is an electronic store, by the way, which they have only about limited electronics, right? Like, no, they have a lot of electronics because nobody's shopping there. So I understand wanting to open up, and look, but people are kind of throwing no caution to the wind right now, at least here in California. That much I know. But even for those that do, if you go in, there's like nobody there. Go in, especially late. That's what we did. And my mom and I got some additional face masks. Kid you not, $69, a little bit more than I wanted, but you know, it's a thing. KN95s, which are equivalent to the N95s we have here. It's just the Asian version, okay? So there you go. That's there. And I've talked about that here on the morning show for quite some time because, look, I don't know what's going to happen around the corner, right? I've got a UV thing that kills off anything that's off the. It's a box. It's like cost me $80, I think, plus tax. And you know, we have that. Put it in there. Boom. UV light kills any germs that's on it. Pretty consistently good because my mom has not gotten coronavirus. I haven't gotten coronavirus, and there you go. But look, at the end of the day, here's what I say. I think he's throwing a lot of caution to the wind, Jesse. And here's why I say that. Florida logged nearly 2,000 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday, and the state's total number of cases tops 700,000. In addition to infections, at least 14,037 residents have died of the virus. That's according to the State Health Department. A report released by the State Health Department Monday found that the state's positivity rate ranged from 5.33% to 7.54%. That's an uptick, not a downtick, over the past 2 weeks, which is higher than the threshold recommended by health experts. A high positivity rate, check this out, can be a sign that a state is only testing its sickest patients and failing to cast a net wide enough to accurately capture community transmission. That's according to Johns Hopkins University. Now, the World Health Organization recommends that governments get their positivity testing threshold below 5%. Despite the state's fluctuating positivity rate, DeSantis has said Florida plans to move forward with hosting a full Super Bowl in Tampa in February, which, hey, if we got the right thing to do, which is, I don't know, have the proper vaccine in place, then I say, let's go for it. But here's what I say. Be careful, Florida, because isn't this the same guy that threw caution to the wind? And then now didn't Florida, they were among the 3 states that suddenly had a huge uptick, and the hospitals almost got bombarded, almost too much so. Am I not right on this? Am I wrong? Do the research, people. Again, Florida, you got to pay attention. Okay, seriously. At least pay attention to those that are trying to do the right thing and have it on a slow curve down. Or wait, oh, that's right. You're doing it right before the cold and or flu season. Oh, I forgot. That's right. Oh, do you want to just make like is he coming up for re-election? Because I feel he just wants to make a lot of people happy. I don't know. But here's what I know. We have to take another break. We have to regroup here because I'm getting a little flustered here. I cannot stand stupidity on government levels. Because look, here's what I say to the people of Florida, and I have a lot of friends in Florida, by the way. I love Florida. I've traveled to Florida. But even Disney World is laying off people because they don't know what to do, okay? So we got to find a middle ground here or a high ground or a low. What ground are we going to be on? Oh, we're going to be on a good even playing field? No, we're not. So look, DeSantis, shout out to you. Stop being stupid. Stop doing what you think is right. And let's just do the right thing, okay? Here's what I say. Open up businesses. I agree with you on that. Open them up, but make it almost mandatory that they at least have this little infrared thing on the outside, which can at least determine if somebody comes in with a fever. Okay, if somebody comes in with the fever, well, don't let them come in with the fever, and it can alert the business owner or the security guard, or whoever's manning it, and it'll do a little red light. A little red light will say, "Oh, that person has a fever higher than the norm." Like, I mean, above 99.9, right? 100 plus, right? Because guess what? That person probably has either A, the flu, the regular flu, the standard flu, right? Which there's different versions of that. Have you gotten your flu shot, by the way? I just found out because I got my mom a flu shot, realistically so, because she's in the higher risk category, right? So she's at the higher risk, so we got that for her. But there's 4 strains that the flu shot currently covers, but how many more strains are out there just walking around, right? So look, at the end of the day, if you don't know already, the regular flu does kill people already, which is why some people say, well, and I had this from the other person, which was like all high and mighty. Well, the flu kills a lot of people too. Yeah, but the coronavirus has a longer incubation time. So your incubation time lasts anywhere from 7 to 8 days. Long story short, you could get how many more people sick if you don't wear a face mask. Okay, so, or if they don't wear a face mask, or if both of you don't wear a face mask, and you start spitting in some wads, which might, come from your lip into somebody else's, which back to that person who said, whatever, the regular flu, somebody spit into his mouth, he was all of a sudden, right? So now he wears a face mask, right? So anyway, my point is this. People, put your thinking caps on, especially those of you in Florida. And obviously, I can almost guarantee you there's going to be other states doing almost the same thing, but look where we're at right here, right now in the stream of time. How many businesses got open all of a sudden, 100% capacity, and then we went back on a full shutdown? Why was that? Remember the hospitals, okay? Remember, they only have so many beds. They only have so many nurses. They have only so many doctors. We do not need to inundate them with really bad cases of coronavirus. Those that don't get well, those that do get sick, those that get pneumonia, those that need to be put on a respirator or what do they call it, intubated, just let's not throw caution to the wind just yet, okay? Because here's what I say. If you're going to travel to Florida, just be the person which has the face mask on. I know it feels weird when everybody else is not wearing face masks. I've done it a couple times, and you know what? It's a thing, okay? Just stop throwing caution to the wind, people. And DeSantis, wake up, okay? That's me knocking and saying, wake up, open the door. Stop being all, I need to be reelected. All my people over here are not here liking this. I need to be back to be reelected. Let's just save the people. Can't, seriously, just save the people. Okay, people? All right. That's all I got to say on that. We got to take a break. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, for those of you tuning in, it is our little tiny break here on the morning show. Big shout out to Bobby Stamps. Says, we the people, in God we trust. Be smart. What's not a far T? What does that mean? Not a far T.
Be smart, not a fart.
All right, I thought it was a Trump. Got it. Okay, not a far. Be smart, not a far. You know what? I like that. I like that. You know what? Biden needs to say that, or Trump. You know what? I don't know. Whatever. Look, I get it. A lot of you like Trump, so I'm not gonna hate on him too much. I think he's just kind of showing his true colors as of late. But there you go. You know, look, a man that can't have proper decorum in a proper debate, you gotta wonder what he's like behind the scenes, right? Like, does he act like that when he's off camera as well? Like, how do his people really respect him, or is that why he has such a high turnover rate? I don't think I've ever seen such a high turnover rate of all of his administration. Do you know that, Jesse?
No, but it does not surprise me.
And it makes me wonder, like, are they happy if I did like an unbiased poll? What I mean by that is like a secret poll of each and every one. How happy are you working for President Trump? I wonder what, because they do that with companies, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, we're not going to tell you. We just want to get an overall feeling of this. I wonder how many be like, oh my God, the thing. Like, I could almost guarantee you, Fauci is like, every day, all day long, why do I have to do this press conference, right? Are they still doing press conferences together? I really have been out of touch with the whole press conference thing. I feel it's just like advertising time for him. You know what I mean? Like, he's using the White House pulpit to be able to get more screen time using coronavirus just so he gets reelected. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I could be wrong. To all the people that love Trump, I'm sorry. But I'm going to call it out what it is.
10 seconds.
Oh my God, Penelope says they should get dunked when they speak out of turn. You know what? I would pay to see that. I would pay to see that. Let's do that.
2 seconds.
That's funny. Welcome back. It is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. If you don't have the app, go download it. It's free. You can have it with you no matter what. You can play it at any time. We have a lot of great programmers here on the station. We've got everything from Dave Ramsey to Paul Amadeus Lane with the Tech Show. We've got gardening tips. We've got a new programmer starting as of tomorrow. Actually, returning programmer as well. We got ones that sometimes leave and sometimes come back, and can't wait to bring that up. A big shout out to Vince Daniels over there. The Many Moods of Vince Daniels, formerly known as, I'm not sure, is that his new name of his show, Jesse?
I think it's just called the Vince Daniels Show. I think he dropped the Mini Moods.
Good. I'm glad he did, because I always took a little like unliking to that title, but I'm glad he did. Because the Vince Daniels actually covers a lot of hot topics. By the way, he's talked about things such as like the clergy and sexual abuse, some very hot topics. Which a lot, look, anybody willing to go toe to toe with an organization which covers up sex crimes and or other things, shoot, I applaud that person. Okay, so he's going to be on the show tomorrow. We'll be talking about his great programming as well, coming back to the station of KMET 1490 AM, re-enlivening his broadcast. And I don't think he's ever really fully stopped. He sometimes guest stars on other people's shows as well. So there you go. Big shout out to Vince Daniels, which we'll have him on the show tomorrow. Speaking of the show tomorrow, we got other great guests as well. We've got one happening to talk about Russia. We're going to have that coming up tomorrow. Russia has been really kind of below the scenes here in the U.S., or kind of above the scenes. I don't know. It depends what portion of the news you follow. But Russia's actually locking people up just for, get this, owning a Bible. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I can say more, but I'm going to wait for the interview and the guest to be on tomorrow's show. And just for owning a Bible, it's considered contraband in Russia. But here's the thing a lot of people don't know. This happens in other countries as well. I've talked recently myself about China and how they've torn down some of the mosques there for the Islam faith, as well as Christianity, kind of banning that in China. But this is happening in other countries as well. And unfortunately, Russia always looked at upon as, they're doing the right thing. Russia's not really talking great things about the U.S. If you look at even the Russian-controlled media out there, not really talking really happy stuff about the U.S. In fact, Putin the other day talked about his ability to send a nuclear warhead pretty much to anywhere. And you got to wonder, why is he talking about that right here and now? So lots of very interesting things happening behind the scenes. If you don't believe me, go research it yourself. You can find the information. Sometimes it's not readily available. You have to really dig deep But thank you for each and every one of you for doing your research and finding out what the story is behind the scenes. Back to Doublemint Radio, I'm pretty sure they have a much better perspective on the world scene than just us. But let's face it, some places and some countries just kind of bottle up, like China. China bottles up, including North Korea. They bottle up the information online. They have their own resources, their own ability to be able to like remove certain publications and or stuff. And there you go. So it's a thing. But we'll have that on tomorrow. Very interesting guest. And I have a feeling that one's going to be a very important show. So don't miss out on that one. Okay. Let's see. Then there's this. Let's do some shout outs. We got, let's see, Maria tuning in. Thank you, Maria, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Rod Brower tuning in as well. Thank you. Let's see. Maria Yankopoulos is tuning in from, I believe, I always forget where, is that, because I know that's a Greek name, but I always forget where Maria is tuning in from. Angie Guzman is tuning in as well. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to bring up Periscope as well. If you guys are tuning in via Periscope app, we appreciate you. A lot of you tune in, and sometimes you don't say anything. You just tune in, you watch, and then you don't say anything. And I get it. I totally understand. But if you retweet, let us know, and we'll do a shout-out here on the show, okay? A lot of people on Twitter as well watch, sometimes after the fact, and we appreciate you as well. Speaking of which, I'm going to share this story. Alcohol consumption rising sharply during the pandemic, especially, get this. Well, let me ask you, Jesse. Do you think who drinks more, men or women?
I'm going to say men, but I'm afraid you're going to surprise me.
Because it's always a surprising question, right? I never ask if it's not surprising, right?
Yeah.
You got me. Heavy drinking by women is up 41% during the pandemic. Yeah, the study was conducted by the RAND Corporation, supported by the National Institute of something. Joe Dinnan felt an anxious pulse in his ears as he walked out of CVS, spotted the liquor store across the street. Having lost his job during the pandemic, he'd had plenty of time to run errands, but he couldn't shake how hopeless he felt, marooned from his own sense of purpose. And the liquor store was right there where he'd left it. A small bottle of vodka won out over his recovery. Ouch. In the age of pandemic, uncertainty is lingering in the air. New data showing that during the COVID-19 crises, American adults have sharply increased their consumption of alcohol, drinking on more days per month and to greater excess. Heavy drinking among women especially has soared. The study, released Tuesday by the RAND Corporation and supported by the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, compared adults' drinking habits from 2019 to now. Surveying about 1,500 adults across a nationally represented panel, participants were asked about their shift in consumption between spring of 2019 and spring of 2020 during the virus' first peak. Based on those results, experts say they are concerned about how people may be choosing to ease the pain and isolation wrought by the pandemic. Michael Pollan said this to ABC, said, quote, "The magnitude of these increases is striking. People's depression increases, anxiety decreases. Alcohol use is often a way to cope with these feelings, but depression and anxiety are also the outcome of drinking. It's this feedback loop where it just exasperates the problem that it's trying to address." So look, Jesse, obviously, I'm not the first one to tell you. Sometimes drinking alcohol can be good and beneficial for the body. True or untrue?
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, look, even for those of you that are all Christian, right? Even Jesus made wine and water into wine. I think if he I mean, just saying, if the wine, I saw a post where the wine was bleeding from the canisters and people were crying online, including myself. I'm like, that's probably really good wine. Somebody quickly, snap that up. But look, at the end of the day, even Paul told Timothy, okay, for those of you very Christian people out there, Paul told Timothy, have a little wine for your stomach, right? Just a little wine, just like a little bit, right? The only time it really talks badly about wine is drunken bouts, right? Meaning like you got so drunk, stupor drunk. But here's the thing, in reality, whatever side of the fence you're on, whether you believe that, don't believe it, here's what I say. Be careful, okay? Just be careful. Stop at your limit. I get if you're alone, you got sorrows that are many. And look, I'm the first one to say, oftentimes I try not to drink in public. I really do. But I've had the occasional beer from time to time. But oftentimes I drink probably half of the full beer because I just don't want to drive while drunk. I don't want to, throw caution to the wind. And I just, I don't want to be under control under a different substance. Does that make sense? So yeah. If I can make any recommendation to those people out there, if you are currently battling alcohol abuse, please get with your sponsor, get with your person, your support system, and give them a call ahead of time. Okay, that's one of the things with those that know. And unfortunately, I know way too many that go through this, and sometimes silently so. Some people don't want to be public about this, but here, if you're listening in, you're going through this situation, much as Joe himself felt in this particular story. This Joe is a lot of John Does and or Sally Does. Look, the reality is this: we're all feeling the pinch, right? And as much as I talk about drug abuse, right, with the teens, sometimes adults do the same thing. Alcohol abuse can also be exactly the same thing, if not worse and or greater. What I mean by that is this: sometimes what's seen as such a tiny little thing can suddenly rear its ugly head in certain people. What I mean by that is some people have a propensity to be fine with alcohol. I've seen it. I've seen some, you Scottish ones out there. I think there's this particular genome that makes it almost impervious to you drinking a certain amount of beer. I remember hanging around this one lady, her name Ethel. I love Ethel. Ethel, fantastic. Scottish as Scottish could be. And she always said, yeah, there's a particular gene that I have because we go so far back. And she could put down, I think, 5 in like an hour or two, and you wouldn't even know it. Do you know people like that, Jesse?
No, I've never met anyone like that.
I was amazed to see her, and I'd ask her questions to test her because I'm like, this can't be even possible. And since then, I met certain people that they can hold their liquor, and I'm like, wow. But look, whether you can hold it or whether you cannot, okay, there are certain things that it does to the body in certain quantities which can hurt the liver, okay? So back to that. Let's not hurt your body. Let's not hurt your mind. Let's not hurt somebody else in the process of, no matter how much you can take, just be more careful than sorry. Okay, that's my little saying to you. Don't throw caution to the wind. Be safe out there. And especially if you know somebody that is suffering from this currently, and or they need the help, or they got the help, and now they kind of all of a sudden went back to square one. Look, it's okay. Anybody that ever is out of recovery, they know that if they fall back, they can still pick themselves back up and keep moving forward. The important point is to keep moving forward no matter what. So keep moving forward, okay? No matter what life throws at you, keep pushing forward. Okay, people, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned. All right, for those of you tuning in, we're watching the chat room. Jesse, what's the chat room saying over there?
Let's see. Double Mint Radio's in Edinburgh. Is that how you pronounce it?
Edinburgh, yeah. Great part of Scotland, I believe.
And it appears a lot of our listeners enjoy the wine.
Yeah, so. You know what? Look, Periscope TV says this. Holly Hawk says, Jesus' first miracle was turning water to fine wine, right? I wonder what the alcohol consumption was of that fine wine, right?
Right?
I mean, if God approves of wine, come on, right?
Exactly.
But it does talk in excess. It does talk about that. Don't get in excess. Don't become drunken. Don't become, right? Like, don't become a drunkard is what it talks about. So there's a fine balance. There's always a fine balance when spoken of. But I try to remind people that are like, no, I don't drink any. I don't ever try to force somebody. But you know, they're like, I'm 100% Christian. I go, did you forget Jesus' miracle there? And he did so for the happiness of. Remember, he did it for the bridegroom and the bride. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, it was because his mom came down. Son, there's no more wine. I wonder how many times he did that for her that she said, can you do that for the rest of the people, right? Like, he's like, hey, we just have water, people. Let's bring some wine. Like, what? I think Jesus was pretty cool back then, He's like
10 seconds. It's like, who's bringing the wine? Oh, we got Jesus. Hey.
Done. He did get a little perturbed, though. He's like, really? Okay, fine. I'll do it again. There you go.
2 seconds.
Welcome back. It is the morning show right here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM, streaming live as well on Facebook, Periscope TV, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We love our Facebook audience. Jesse, what are some of the comments? Where are they coming from?
This is a quick question. The Scottish person that you were talking about, where's she from? Do you know?
Ooh, I don't remember. I'd have to look her up. It's been quite some time. That was like 12 years ago. Okay, I don't even know if she's still alive, to be honest.
Double Mint Radio was like, was she from Glasgow? It's a bit nuts over there in the West.
You know what? Maybe I'll try to find her. I don't know. But I just remember she's like, it's the Scot in me. And I was like, well, okay, then let's drink some more, So, no, but I would pretend to sip but I'd be like on my one, right? Sometimes I do that. I pretend because I don't want to be that guy that's not, because there's some people when you hang out, you don't drink and they think you're the fuddy-duddy. So I drink like half, and then I just pretend to take a sip, but it never goes past the halfway line. People don't even know. I shouldn't say that. Somebody's going to call me out on that again, but whatever. It's okay to be that person, I don't want to spend the additional. Okay, Jesse, I spent, kid you not, I went to this art event down in Rancho Palos Verdes over the weekend, right? And I'm all for malt beers, by the way. Hefeweizen. I love Hefeweizen, which recently I got turned on to Blue Moon, right? Which is a type of malt beer. But I got this weird one, which was like all dark black and it looked moldy, and it was like it tastes like a coffee beer. I don't even know the name of it, but don't try that. I should get the name of it of stuff I don't like. But I kid you not, I drank a third of that, and it cost me like a total with tip. I'll leave the tip out but I feel that we got to tip more of our waiters and waitresses a little bit more because they're barely getting minimum wage as it is. If you don't know, yep. The reason you tip people is because they barely make minimum wage and barely get full-time benefits because they often have to work a minimum amount of hours. I know because I used to work for Red Lobster. Shout out Red Lobster, love you guys. Great lobsters and shrimp and every ultimate feast. It's amazing, but they keep you under a certain amount of hours so that you don't get full-time benefits because then they have to pay you even more. So people tip your waiters and or waitresses or service industry members. Oftentimes they make a living off their tips because they just don't make enough with minimum wage, and they do a lot of good. Okay, plus if they have good service. But it cost me $8 for that beer, Jesse. I was not a happy camper at the end of the day, but it is what it is.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, I've never been a big beer drinker. I think I tried it a few times when I was younger, and it just, it didn't mesh with me.
Yeah, so there you go. But drink responsibly. That's always my, we used to have Applebee's on. I'm sure we'll have them on around the corner at some point. But we'd always, you talk about the Margaritaville or whatever dollar margarita they had. I don't know if they're still doing that because they're doing the outside. I'm sure they are. I don't know if they are. But long story short, look, visit Applebee's. They're a great sponsor of the show, and we appreciate you. Okay, let's switch gears just a bit into something that's happening in Kentucky. Yes, Kentucky's on pace for record week of coronavirus cases. Wait, what? Kentucky? This is not good. So look, I'm going to skip that because I just feel like nobody wants to hear anything about Kentucky. Right, Jesse?
Yeah, corona outbreaks are going everywhere, so I don't know.
Yeah, but it is one of 22 states currently considered in the red zone for cases. So there you go. So see, back to Florida, okay, people? Don't do dumbness like Florida. Florida, correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse, how many stories do we have from Florida in the past? We haven't covered any of them. Are crazy criminals, people that you go, what is going on in Florida? I think DeSantis is making some people happy that shouldn't be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, I thought Florida's supposed to be like the crazy child state.
I feel they are, and I feel like we shouldn't have to learn from their stupidity because we're talking about lives, people. This is why I get so upset and so adamant. Some people get upset that I get upset, but I get, I was reminded yesterday back to an interview that I was asked to do. The interviewer, talked about our morning show, and he watched a little bit of our show, talking about some of the war that's happening around the world, right? And he was already aware about China and India. And I was like, well, good job. He's like, yeah, I'm totally aware. I look at news outside of the U.S. Well, actually, he didn't say that, but I always tell people, look at news outside of the U.S. and you'll find news that actually is more appropriate. But he talked about, how do you know when you're in one direction or the other? And I said, there's this great graph, I posted it, but nobody paid attention to it, of certain programs that actually lean on either side, either very Democratic or very Republican. And then there's some that are right in the middle, or they try to stay in the middle, right? Then there's some that are extreme right or extreme left. And I say, are you always going to get the truth from those extremes? So I say, look at the opposite side, or, whatever side you align yourself with. And at the end of the conversation, I did kind of leave with this. I said, wouldn't it be great if the majority of us just kind of went back to independent thinking and went to independent status versus saying you're Democratic or Republican, and say, look, I agree sometimes with both. I think some Democrats are so opposed to hearing about what Republicans say, but sometimes Republicans are so opposed to Democrats that sometimes they can learn from each other. You know what I mean? They call it bipartisan. But I think in this day and age, we're starting to kind of draw the line in such a way that we're losing sight of what's real and what's not. Does that make sense, Jesse?
It really does, because all I ever see on the news is if you vote right, you're a racist. If you vote left, you're crazy. And it's just like, okay, is there a middle option?
Yeah, and sometimes people say, because I throw Trump under the bus all the time, they think, oh, you're not Republican. Actually, technically, I'm neither, 100%. Okay, I'm in the middle. I'm the independent guy. And in reality, here's what I've seen, okay? People sometimes forget Lincoln, was he Democrat or Republican?
Republican?
Uh-huh, yeah. Kennedy, Democrat or Republican?
Republican?
I think he was Democrat. Am I wrong on that? I think he was.
I think it was the Democrat. I think it was.
I could be wrong. I got to look that one up. But my point is this: what if we removed titles and just said, "Look, just do the right look"? If Abraham Lincoln ran today, do you think he would win, Jesse?
I want to say yes, but I don't know.
Yeah, the interviewer says, "I don't know. I heard he was a vampire hunter." He said, or demon hunter, one of the two. I don't know. And I'm like, you know what?
Vampire hunter.
Yeah.
He saved.
I think he was a cool guy. I think, look, a lot of people don't know he didn't make a lot of money as an attorney. He actually did a lot of jobs for free. One time he got paid what's equivalent to a penny, by the way. He just took penny as a payment so he could show proof that was their client, right? So his wife at the time, who married him, at first was like, ugh, really? I went with you? Because she wanted to go with the famous guy. If you guys don't know, it's a very interesting book. I'm going to look it up. It's by Dale Carnegie, okay? And it's all true, by the way. And I think, you know what, look, I think in the future, I hope that somebody will run kind of like, it was funny, the interviewer says, like would a reincarnated Abraham Lincoln ever run? I don't know, but I know this. It's a really good book. If you haven't checked it out, it's about Lincoln's unknown life before he became the president. It's called Lincoln the Unknown by Dale Carnegie. It was written in 1932. A lot of the information actually not in history books. And if you're looking for a really good read, I recommend that you read that. And you'll find out a lot about Abraham Lincoln, which I say this. Why are we voting for the most, rich guy? Because, I mean, in history, it wasn't always the richest guy or the supposed rich guy, right? I'm not going to talk about his taxes. I think the media will hit up his taxes. I don't need to go there, Jesse. I really don't. But kind of begs the question, right? It's like, why did that come out now? Did that come out from the Biden camp to try to discredit Trump? I think there's a lot of mudslinging that I think people find humorous, and I don't. And I'll tell you why. Because we're putting people's lives on the line. Let's just stick with that, okay? If we talk about how can we keep our people safe and free from harm while opening up our businesses, revamping our educational school system to take advantage of the virtual training and or in-person training for those that really need it. Back to special needs kids really need it. They really need in-person training. It's taking way too much away from parents. I 100% agree. There's got to be a safe way to do it. We need more professionals at the table rather than the rhetoric. Does that make sense? Look, yeah. I think Biden's a great guy. I think at the heart of Trump, I hope he's a great guy, okay? And I think both are not experts in their own right. What I mean by that is Trump is known for what? His business mentality. True?
True.
Is he known for his government ability?
No.
Is he known for peace talks?
Oh God,
or
no.
negotiation? I would say yes. You're right.
Gosh,
He just got applauded, like, by other government leaders, Israel as well, which I say good. More peace talks need to happen. Use your negotiation skills to do more of that, right? But stop throwing rhetoric of acting like a big bitter baby, okay? But back to Biden. Biden's not an expert on a lot of stuff, but you know what? I would almost venture to say him and Kamala will bring in the experts, say, okay, what do we need to do? I need to make the hard, fast rules and or regulate. Oh wait, that's not my job. It's government's job to make those. Oh, got it. Okay, well, so I got kind of my hands tied by the Congress. Well, then Congress needs to step up. Everybody needs to step up. And look, if you enjoy that conversation, go check out the podcast, which I'm posting on my social media. Go check it out. I talk about a lot of that stuff. And shout out to Dash Radio. I'll totally do an interview on your show. I don't know what you guys talk about, but let's have fun. All right, people, we've run out of time here on the station, but we appreciate each and every one of you. Spend some time calling up a fellow friend and or enemy and see what you get. You might just say, look, I used to hate you, but are you okay? I just want to make sure you're okay. And then they'll say, oh, well, thanks for checking up on me. I'm not okay. And then you go, okay, how can I help you? And then they say, are you still my enemy? No, I'm not your enemy. I want to make, friends, not enemies. All right, people. Love you. Bye-bye, everyone. All right, for the rest of you tuning in, this is our little time to shine. Yes, it's called. Let's see, where are you guys at? Let me know where you're tuning in. I'm gonna bring up Periscope really quick. Let's see. Again, big shout out. Oh, let's see. There's more retweets. Mike Pasquat, thank you for retweeting. Bongo Man, that's kind of a cool name. Art Carlos tuning in. Thank you. Nurse Linda turning in. You know what? If you're a nurse and you're a real nurse and that's just not your name, thank you for everything you're doing. We love you. Seriously, we love you. You have no idea. I have so many friends in the hospital right now. And I know because of their posts, and I can only do so much from afar, but you are on the front lines. We are trying, I hope, to remember it's about you, not us. It's about you. Thank you for doing the right thing. Nadifo Ja tuning in. Thank you. Chief tuning in. Thank you. Holly tuning in. Double Mint Radio also tuning in on Periscope's Twitter feed. Thank you. Millie tuning in. Let's see. Max the Knight tuning in. Thank you. Let's see. Screamer says, wine after a long day of nursing before bed is awesome. Oh, you're a nurse as well. Wow. I did not know that. Okay. Or maybe you're just recommending that. I don't know. Sky Baby tuning in. Let's see. Screamer says, Florida, I can't believe what's going on there. Right. I know. Seriously. I've got friends there. I want to call and say, please don't believe everything you hear. Seriously. That happened here in the Inland Empire, and the San Bernardino Riverside County actually were like, no more need for face masks. They were one of the very few that were on board with this whole, shutdown process. Back to Orange County, same thing. They're like the first ones like, no, we're rich and we want to stay rich. Don't take away our money. And, I get it. Back to businesses, though. Businesses need to get back to work because they employ people. And people that need to be employed need to be safe, not get sick at the same time for working overtime because immunities get turned. You get where I'm going with this? You got to keep the workers safe, too. You can't just accept profit and not reinvest in your people. I was among the first that kept saying, there was a shopping place. I won't throw them under the bus, but I kept saying to the manager, I told one manager there, why don't you guys buy face masks for your employees, right? This is before it was like in vogue, right? Now people have like Dolce and Gabbana, different ones. Some get the presidential seal. I saw one that had like a cool government seal. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it's not N95, is it? They say no. I go, how hard is it to get in? An N95 sterilized each and every time you do it actually could last longer than one of these other ones that actually you breathe through and you get harmful particles in. Back to smoke, okay? The fires that were happening, I think a lot of people appreciate having face masks when the fires are happening. But, if there's any type of smoke that happens, back to 9/11, that the majority of people got sick after the fact, years after, because they were inhaling the harmful chemicals from that blast. You understand? And even the firefighters and others who you would have thought somebody would have said, hey guys, maybe we should need to put on face masks. I don't know how many did, but let's learn from our past. If that ever happens again, put on face masks, okay? Put on two N95s, okay? Because you could breathe better in them, by the way. I've got the hookup. They're like $4 a piece, all right? So, if you want, hit me up and I'll hook you up. I don't make any money. I just, I give you the page and you order from them. All right, let's see. Let's see. This appreciation. Screamer says, Soul Photo, good info, and I always respect your ideas and thoughts. Awesome book, interesting read. Yeah, go check it out. It's a really good book. Again, I'm gonna just say that one more time. Lincoln the Unknown. Lincoln the Unknown. Written by Dale Carnegie, who himself was a really good salesperson. Wrote a lot of good books. Wrote one about how to win friends and influence people. If you have a hard time talking to people, getting out of your comfort zone. That used to be me when I was age 12, I want to say, or a little bit earlier, about 12. And I read it, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, it was a great read. That's another really good read. Just to be able to talk to people, share your thoughts, share your ideas in such a way that people want to listen and not throw caution in the wind and be like abusive or backbiting or whatever. I haven't seen what Trump did to Biden. I really almost don't care. I know I'm going to see it later and maybe I'll have my views. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do, right? All right, let's bring up Facebook as well. I know you guys are loyal over there. Thank you again for the hearts. I'm going to just do another shout out for the hearts. The people of over there, you threw out, sorry, not hearts. Sorry. Hearts on Periscope. If you throw up enough hearts, and we get enough hearts, by the way, I think Periscope ends up giving us money as well at some point. I don't know. We're at like 2 million plus hearts. I don't know what the number is. I don't know if it's passing 3 just yet. But so throw up the hearts there. And on Facebook, you guys are there as well. Let me do a shout out to you guys as well before we sign off. Where are you guys at? Let's see. New. There it is. Okay, let me bring that up. Let me bring up the comments. Let's see. Bobby tuning in. Bobby, again, thank you for the stars. Let me get it right. Stars. YouTube has another feature as well. I can never keep them up. I think they have superstars over there or something like that. Kantia Wunderland, thank you as well. Let's see. Maria tuning in. Thank you so much. Rosalie, I love your little bye emoji. That's that one that you picked, huh? That's cool. I like that. It looks like you too. I like the ones that look like you. Mine didn't look like me after a while. I was like, I don't look like that. I need to choose a different one, or I need a different hairstyle. I need a haircut, by the way. Let's see. Maria tuning in. I voted mail-in ballot. I won't say who I voted for. Okay. Well, you know what? It's believe in science, not true. We pretty much know who you voted for. Thank you. Let's see. Kennedy was a Democrat, according to Penelope. Yeah, that's what I thought. But do you know what? Look, at the end of the day, whether you hate or love, right? Those are 2 presidents that got shot in the head. For doing what? Conspiracy theories abound. But at the same time, were they both really good presidents overall? I would venture to say yes. I would venture to say Kennedy, he had his moments, let's face it, right? Marilyn Monroe, we all know about that, right? But at the end of the day, he kept us safe from nuclear harm. Remember that? Some people don't know the history about that. A nuclear armament could have happened. The reason why bomb shelters were all the rage back then, right? And he saved our country in that moment of crises. Is that going to happen again? I hope not. But I did ask this question on the interview that was asked of me to conduct yesterday. It was this question. Do you want a person who's ready to go to war or somebody that wants peace over war? And worst case scenario, will go to war to support the people he says he is there to protect. Abraham Lincoln went to war. So there was a civil war, remember that? Leading up to the expulsion of the slave trade, making peace for everyone. Look, agree to disagree, whatever history you know and or don't know. Here's what I know, okay? I was never a history buff. I probably got like half of that percentage wrong. I'm not a history guy. I'm just not. But here's what I know. In life, there are people that try to do the right thing. And do you want somebody that tries to do the right thing the majority of the time, or the person that thinks his ego is bigger than life itself? You understand what I'm saying? I've had many people say to me, I often say, why did you vote for Trump? Because I can tell. Those are the ones without face masks. 100%. 100%. Okay? And they say this often to me. Well, he gets stuff done. And I say, does he really? Like, did he ever get anything really accomplished? And they go, well, yeah, he did this, that, and the other. I go, okay. But we're at a time where government needs to step in and do the right thing for the people. We're at a time where businesses are closing willy-nilly. Well, yeah, that wasn't his fault. Okay. When the information came to him, what did he do? And at what point did that come to him? He hasn't denied the information he's had all the time, right? He actually said this, quote, I didn't want to spread panic. Okay, well, you didn't want to spread panic. What were you hoping to spread? Love? Happiness? Joy? All I've seen is hate rhetoric. Hate rhetoric, hate rhetoric, hate rhetoric. Look, correct me if I'm wrong, but the majority of Trump supporters do the same thing out in public and or privately in their hearts. I know it. I've seen it. I've been at the end of it by quite a few. So look, at the end of the day, do the right thing. Do as much as you can do. Do whatever. Look, if you love Trump, I'm all for that. Here's what I ask. I ask that Trump just do the right thing by the people that vote for him. Does that make sense? Here's what I don't want. I do not want people to throw their lives into harm's way for somebody who says, it's okay, we'll get over it. Don't worry, we'll have herd immunity. Do you understand that the majority of people have to get sick in order, so the numbers obviously are going to increase in order to get herd immunity. Do you understand that? And that's if it doesn't evolve into a worse virus, right? Look, I'm not about spreading false claims. Look up the information. It's all right there. You can find it yourself. But here's what I'm very, very adamant about. My sister almost died in February because of coronavirus, okay? The doctors had no idea what they were fighting at the time. They barely brought her back to life. Barely. Agree to disagree. I know what it's like to almost lose my sister. And I think a lot of you out there have family friends or family people that you know of people that know of people. There are some people that I retweet this all the time on Twitter, okay? I'm going to reread it here right now. If you have a personal story, I ask you to go visit my Twitter on Aaron M. Sanchez and let your story be heard, because there are some that have very interesting comments. I'm not going to throw their name under the bus right here, right now, but I just got one yesterday. Let me go to notifications, and this is the tweet. Actually, let me go to the notification first. This is what I got by one person. And let me scroll down. Here's one. I'm not going to say their name. I don't want to throw them under the bus. They said, nope, I don't know anyone or anyone who knows anyone. And that covers from 3 countries of family and friends. I almost always will encounter or hear of some with the flu in flu season. Take care of your body, mind, and spirit first, and you will be fine. I'm sorry, but to that person who tweeted that out to me, I'm not going to comment and or retweet, because I've already commented and retweeted on some other dumb people saying dumb stuff. Just because you don't know somebody, get outside of your bubble, okay? Let me go to this person. I can almost guarantee they do not have enough friends on social media. And what I mean by that is, or they haven't polled themselves. You know what? Okay, you have 1,690 followers. Retweet that message first, and then see what your friends say. I bet I'll probably get at least 5 that say, nope, I know somebody. So already there. Now, I get it that you don't know somebody in your inner circle, because let's say the average person has, how many friends would you guys say? Let me throw you guys out. Let's say in your family and friends, how many do you think you know 100% that you've been talking to at least for the last 8 weeks? Okay? I want a show of hands of people that are still here on social media. I'll bring you guys up on Periscope as well. YouTube, wait on me. I can only open so many windows. LinkedIn, you as well. And I get more views on literally Periscope, and of course, well, sometimes I get more on YouTube. It just depends on the subject matter, usually after the fact. So let me know, okay? Let me know. How many would you say you know? Because I would venture to say the average person, including myself, probably knows, at least personally, intimately, has had a conversation with over the phone and or in person at least 500. Okay, that's me in my own last 8 weeks. I meet a lot of people, all right, in, out, and have had a lot of phone conversations, by the way, by a lot of people talking to me about their own stories, their own life troubles, and there you go. Okay, so that's me conservatively. Okay, but online, I reach out to a lot of people that I don't know in person. I don't know their stories, and I ask for their stories. So I'm going to read some of their stories right here, right now, okay? And here's a couple, and I hate doing this, but I just need to throw people a little bit more information rather than misinformation out there by people that like to say, I don't know anybody that knows anybody, right? So here's some more recent ones, okay? And again, this is my tweet. As of recently, I have seen many think COVID-19 is either blown out of proportion or not real at all. So would you please comment if you know someone who is either battling COVID-19 or currently dead due to? This is a tweet to remind people to be safe than sorry. Now, I posted this originally back in July 12th of 2020 when the rhetoric was so bad. And I saw so many people going, whatever, right? Back to Florida. All of a sudden, Florida's like, we don't, you know what people are going to do. I don't have to wear a face mask. Done, right? Maria says this. Maria Estrella. Maybe I should read it before I say anything. Okay, this one's a reasonable one. All right, I'll accept this one. By the grace of Almighty God, so far my family has not been impacted by the virus, nor know anyone who has. My husband has not stopped working even after the shutdown. Business as usual so far. Thank God. You know what I say? Good. Keep thanking God. Yet at the same time, right, you don't want somebody, 5 people jumping in there and then all of a sudden throwing coronavirus all around about, right? And all of a sudden your husband gets sick and or, right, bring it home or get one of you sick. So obviously he's not throwing caution in the wind. I would assume he's doing the right thing at the business, at the place of business. And I do believe businesses can do the right thing. There's things, UV filters that can clean the air. They scrub the air is what they call it, through air conditioners. It's a little bit more pricey depending on how many you have, but ask your air conditioning professional to throw a couple of those in if you're a business. That's what I say. Make a certain protocol. You know, they say like A level, B level, C level. Make a A level type rate. I don't know. Maybe get sued, but I don't know. But look, at the end of the day, make it safe for everybody. Have face masks ready to go. They're available now. We don't have the shortage anymore because they've ramped up. So there you go. You can buy N95s for you or yourself or your family member. I bought like a box of 20. So there you go. Let's see. Joel McCracken says friend's ex-coworker died from it not long ago. An ex-work coworker of mine said his current coworker's brother and father both died from it. My boss' whole family had it. They don't die, but he just said he still has lingering problems from it. He had it several months ago now. And that's a new segment that we're learning about right here and now. I posted, I believe, or maybe I didn't because it was just so sad, an article of a woman who was pretty healthy. Actually, you know what? There's this article. Here it is. Appalachian State student. All right. An Appalachian State student, which was known as a super healthy Appalachian State student. This is the headline. Dies following COVID-19 complications. I'll read this word for word so I don't misconstrue it. The University of North Carolina system reported its first coronavirus-related student death on Tuesday since several campuses reopened with at least partial in-person learning last month. Chad Dorrell, a 19-year student at Appalachian State University who his mother and former coach described as a super healthy athlete, died on Monday due to coronavirus complications. The statement from Peter Hans, president of the system overseeing the state's 16 public colleges and universities, said this, quote, any loss of life is a tragedy, but the grief cuts especially deep as we mourn a young man who had so much life ahead. So much life ahead. Do you remember when people were saying the youth aren't going to get it? It's the older generation. Do you remember that? And I said, that's kind of mean of you. Do you not have family members that are older? Well, it's their time. They're done. No one said that to me, but in their heart of hearts, I almost felt like that's what they felt underneath, right? Well, oh well, you know, I'm young. I'm okay. And then people younger were starting to get it. And I said, well, and I lost a friend over this because the friend's like, no. My blood type's O, and that's been proven to be resistant against this. So I'm fine. So are my family members. What about your own mom? Does she have the same blood type? Does everybody around you have? So you understand what I'm saying? Back to this statement. I ache for the profound sadness that Chad Dorrell's family is enduring right now. My heart goes out to the entire Appalachian State community. Dorrell was a graduate of Ledford High School in Thomasville. His former high school coach, Jason Anderson, told the station it's hard to come to terms with Dorrell's death. Anderson said this, quote, this is a perfectly healthy 19-year-old kid that 2 years ago was running up and down the floor playing 30 out of 32-minute games. The Piedmont Pacers, a travel basketball team that Chad Dorrell played on, said Dorrell was their all-time leading scorer and member of the 2018 USSA National Championship team. Dorrell's mother released a statement through the team. The doctor said that Chad is the rarest 1/10 of a million case, but if it can happen to a super healthy 19-year-old person who doesn't smoke, vape, or not do drugs, it can happen to anyone. I'm going to stop there, okay, people? There's more to the article. But let's remember, each and every one of us, I don't know the biology of you. You don't know the biology of me. We don't know the biology of each other. The last thing I want to do is throw all caution in the wind and say, hey, guess what? No face masks anymore. Yay. Back to work. Yay. Back to business. Yay. Da, 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 da. And then people with very severe symptoms of other viruses and or diseases don't have a bed to sleep in, don't have an ICU attendee, don't have the nurse and or doctors readily available because people are, suddenly like Florida? Here's what I predict with Florida in the next 3 weeks. Florida's going to see such an uptick by doing, oh, don't worry about it. We're all good. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's almost the holiday. Remember that? That happened back in early April. Do you remember that? For Easter vacation. And where are we now? Yeah. So I implore each and every one of you, put your thinking cap on. No matter what county and or country you live in, no matter what state you live in. Some of you are living in other countries that have dealt with this, and yet it's been dealt with, and then you have the uptick once again. Some of your countries have actually done really good by this, by the way. I heard Switzerland did some really good as well. Did some very difficult things at the very beginning. Got through it, completely pulling through, or hasn't. I don't know. I don't know what the latest is on that. Let me know, Katya, if you're still tuning in. But here's what I know. Let's focus on the countries that have done it right. Let's do that. Let's implement that. And then let's go to the next step. And the next step is obviously a cure or a vaccine to help prevent it. But let's face reality, people. Do you think they're going to have enough vaccines for all of us at any given time? They just don't have the manufacturing up to speed for that. If and when there's a proper one that comes out that is resistant against all the different levels of viruses of coronavirus. Because if you look at the news headlines, there are multiple different strains starting up right here, right now. Don't believe me? Look it up. But at the end of the day, we have to do at least the right thing. And whatever the right thing is for you may not be the right thing for somebody else. But let's try to do the right thing for at least those in your inner circle. Okay? If you start with that, guess what? We all will be more. Well, see, I take issue with that. Because I think that there are people within their inner circles that are completely throwing caution to the wind, and I see them at meetings, at events, at startups, or whatever it is. I see them. And they group up together and they say, we're all fine, we're all good, no problem, we're all good, yeah. And then the following week, somebody gets coronavirus. Does it really have to impact your inner circle in order for you to be serious about it? I certainly hope not. I hope at least at the very beginning of your day, you say, you know what? I'm not going to let this coronavirus stop me. I'm just going to be sure to at least do proper safety protocols and at least live life as much as possible. And to which I say, good job. Do that. Meet up with a family friend outside. Go to a park. Go somewhere outside. Spread some love. Spread some cheer. Have a beer. Have a wine. Have a little bit, not a lot, right? Enjoy the day. But enjoy it. But don't throw caution to the wind. That's all I've got to say. I'm running out of time. Thank you very much for each and every one of you spending time with us. We appreciate you. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show. Very impactful show. We're going to throw Russia under the bus. Literally. Okay, I am. But, it's a thing. Vladimir. Actually, he actually said something, which I think he has some rhetoric going on over there. Don't believe me. I'm going to post some stories about Russia. You might want to see. You might not even know about. Follow me on social media. Aaron Michael Sanchez. Aaron M. Sanchez. There it is. Bye-bye, everyone.